anybody want to come up here and do this because I don't want this. So, I said, you're going to loosen your ties. I said, we're going to get loose here right quick. I want to ask you a question. Do anybody know how they catch monkeys in the jungle?
Oh, yeah.
Guess how? They get a jar. When the mouth of the jar is just big enough for the monkey to stick his hand in, and they put some goodies in there, so when he grabs the goodies and he try to pull it out, his fist is too big to get it out of the jar here, but he will not try to loose the goodies.
Right.
And so they got the jar tied to a rope, and they just put him in, and he still got his fist crushed. That's how they catch monkeys in the jungle. So the theme of this is, around this celebrated time of Christmas, you got your hand clutched on something that somebody else could be blessed with. Let it go. Let the good Lord bless you by giving something. Speaking of that, I got 4 tickets right here. To Billy Bob, Jack Ingram. I know you know who he is. Billy Bob's Texas. He preaches if you win this trivia, don't go by the casino. Just go see Jack Ingram. He sings a song, Thank God in Greyhound, She's Gone. I know y'all heard it on the radio. Y'all had heard that? Well, the trivia question is, what was the oldest son of Dr. Spock on Star Trek? What was his name? My cell phone going. Oh, that's my wife texted me and said, don't be so silly. Put them tickets up. Don't nobody want to go to Billy Bob. Baby, I'm sorry. That's my wife over there. Wife for 33 years. She just texted me and said, please don't make yourself look silly. Don't nobody want to go to Billy Bob. Well, I got another trivia question. This is a lot simpler. How does a grandfather make his grandson his brother?
Greyhound Jesse.
Say that again?
Greyhound Jesse.
No. You make him ride the same goat that you rode. And 2 boys over there, right there, my boys, Ross Williams and Elliott Jr. rode the same goat that J.C. Williams rode many years ago, and his grandsons became his brother. All right. I used to be a classroom educator for a whole lot of years out in West Texas. And I would always open up the first day of class with a good sounding revelation for the whole year. And so I never will forget this first year I opened up, and I'm telling my classroom, I says, you need to sow good things to get good results out of this class. Because what you sow, you shall reap. And I'm preaching this hard all through the class period. I'm giving them the theory on Pythagoras, theorem A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Pythagoras, a great mathematician. So the next morning, same class come back in. I says, who can tell me what my lecture was about yesterday? So Johnny held up his hand. He got an IQ about 35. He says, teacher, I can answer that question. I said, well, tell me, what did I lecture on yesterday? He said, you said what you rip, you got to sew it up. I said, Johnny, come here, son. And as the 6 weeks progressed on, Johnny just kept fading, kept getting worse and worse. So I said, Johnny, I got to come out to the house and see how you raise and see if I can find an answer how to get through to you. So he said, well, come on out there. So I go out there and I sit down. It's on a little farm area. And I get in the house and I sit down and pigs are running through the house.
And I asked his daddy, I said, what's this pig running through the house? He said, well, that one's named Solomon, and that one is named Gomorrah. I says, okay. And as I looked a little closer, both of them were missing a leg. One was missing an ear, one was missing a tail. And so I asked the daddy, I said, give me why you got these pigs missing an ear, missing a tail. He said, well, Solomon there came out in the field and tracked on me, and he came back to the house, got mama, and got help. I would have died if it hadn't been for Solomon. I says, okay. Well, what about that one? Missing a tail, missing an ear, missing a leg. He said, well, that's Gomorrah. He said, well, the house caught on fire one night, and they erupted in the house and got us out of bed. We just barely got out of there. We put out the fire. We would have died had it not saved our life. So I said, but why do they have missing parts? He said, when you got pigs that good, mister, you don't eat them all at one time. I said, man. But I go on, I'll tell you a little bit, sir. Brother Steve Johnson back there, devout man. He was called to do a revival up in Blink, Texas. Google that up from you when you get home this evening, tell you where it is. Blink, Texas, one red light, one little motel. So Steve was doing a revival, and he was there a couple of days. He had some bills he had to make out, mail. So he made out a bill, and he went looking for the post office. Drove up and down the street, couldn't find the post office. So he noticed a guy sitting on a cart outside with a 40 ounce. So he goes up there and he says, mister, can you tell me how to get to the post office? He said, well, the post office is in the general store, everybody know that. And so as Steve was walking off, he knows he turned up that 40 ounce. He says, I need to add some spirituality in this man's life. So he goes back to him, he says, sir, I'm doing a revival tonight. And in this revival, I can give you the directions how to get to heaven. You gonna come tonight? He said, no, sir, preacher. He said, why? He said, you don't even know the direction how to get to the post office. Man, I know the night is long, and I just got one more share a story with you. Me and my beloved friend here, your current worship master, David Scruggs. Ever since I've known him, he's had an entrepreneurship about him that's beyond none I've ever been able to match. Well, David was competing for this contract with this, to do the media advertising for this guy by the name of J.J. Hauser Company, and they were having a convention in Dallas, so he travels over to Dallas to go to the convention. This big fancy hotel down the Anatole Hotel. So Davis checks in, and they were having a gathering there. So he gets up close to the guy, and there are two other gentlemen bidding for the same contract. And David is trying to get to him. The guy says, tell you what, I'm doing a song in about an hour. Y'all meet me in a song, and we'll all let you pitch me the presentation and see who gets my contract. So there was a Japanese guy, a Chinese guy, and that was our beloved David Scruggs. So David goes in, they put their towels around him, they're sitting in the steam. And so Mr. Hauser says, the number one thing that I want is communication with me. I need to get in touch with you when I need to get in touch with you. So the Japanese guy says, well, I have a phone implanted in my teeth. I just clacked my teeth, and the phone will ring. It's charged by the inhaling and exhaling that I do on a daily basis, so I never need a battery. So the Japanese guy says, well, I got a two-way radio implanted in my ear. It's connected directly to my office, and I'm in touch with it all times. So David Scruggs says, man, I'm gonna lose this deal. What can I do? And the reason he's whistling back is because he has a brain on himself. He says, wait a minute, I gotta go to the restroom, grab the bath. So Davis comes back, and he's walking back, and his towel falls off of him. And he's got toilet tissue hanging out. And the man said, what in the world is this? He said, wait a minute, I got a fax coming in.